Hi everyone. Just gonna wait a little bit. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
All right.
Great. Do we have everyone here? Yes.
I think we do.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, welcome everyone, and welcome to our second Pass the Baton live interview with our writers. So we are a community of writers united by a passion and with a common purpose. And our common purpose is to do the Word Improv challenges. So the Word Improv Challenge is a way of writing a story, a skit, or a poem with 6 new words each week, led by Word Sleuth. So these Pass the Baton interviews are a way of introducing and learning more about the writers behind these challenges. So here we have today, our second interview is with Michelle. So
Hello.
there's Michelle. Cool. And we have Sitska as well, who was monitoring our comments and answering questions. So, yeah, please join in and ask away. So, Michelle was originally born on a ranch in Colorado, a horse ranch in the United States. When, after a while, she moved to Australia to tour the country and loved it so much, she decided to stay. So that's where she is now. That's where she's joining us from. So Michelle has a passion for poetry. From her first book, a Shield Severston book of poetry that she was given, and a journal from her mum where she started writing down everything and anything, and kind of fell in love with writing poetry from her entry to her first book, a chapbook of poetry 4 years ago. So she loves her instruments, she loves animals, she loves the outdoors and gym, and loves kind of home cooked meals too. So Michelle, thanks for joining us again today.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. It's
Good.
exciting.
Yes. Cool. So you've been doing the word improv challenges for a while now.
Yes. Yep. I think I started pretty early on when it originally got started. I think I was in the first like maybe 3 or 4.
So what drew you to doing the challenges?
I don't know. I just saw um the words that were being used, and I was like, oh, I love like words that aren't commonly used today, and that are just like kind of funky and like a bit more complicated, or like look more complicated and have really quite simple meanings. And so I was originally drawn to it from kind of the complexity of the words, and the fact that it was like 9 words, which was kind of like, I was like, that's a lot, but it was a challenge, and I was like, that's, I don't know, it looked fun. So so that, I think I just did it as a one-off and didn't realize that that it was posted like regularly.
Yeah.
Um, and then as I started realizing like, oh, this is a thing, okay, I kind of jumped on the train. So
Great. And so you've written a few now, and you're going to read for us your favorite story you've posted so far. Is it a story or poem?
it's a bit more poem. It's like a story in a poem. Um, I've kind of gone back to a bit more of my rhymey roots.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, the one that I'm reading today is more rhymey, and it's actually the last one that we've just completed,
Uh,
number 10, I think.
okay. So it's kind of fresh off the hot off the press.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Cool. Well, if you're ready, it'll be great to hear it.
Yes, give me just 1 second. Okay, cool. Um, okay, so A diminutive palooka fighting his first fight, as the crowd stared at him in the chthonic light, with his oblong head and his clumsy feet, scudding across the mat to his own incompetent beat, once to the chin and twice to the eye, as the arse-whooping continued with little delight, anhedonia set in to much surprise, and little Mr. Fighter curled up and cried.
That's nice. That's so good. So, where
Thanks.
where did you get the idea from to kind of join the words in that way?
I think I just kind of read over the words briefly and was picking up on kind of these a lot of words that kind of described a bit of an awkward person. We've got like Palooka, who's kind of like incompetent, um, with like oblong, which is kind of awkward. And it made me
Mhm.
think of just like this awkward person who's like thrown into a ring or randomly decides like I want to try fighting. I'm gonna be a fighter. And then realizes very quickly like, oh, this is not for me. Or like I've bit off a bit more than I can chew here. And that's kind of where it's like there's all this glamour, this like, oh, I'm in the ring, this is gonna be amazing, and then realizing very quickly that like this is not happening today.
Yeah, yeah, and that comes across really well in that poem. I think that kind of the understanding that it's not going to plan, and
Yeah,
I am not maybe is a glamorous and poetic dancer in fighter as I think
yeah,
I
yeah, exactly, exactly.
am.
Like, oh, I'm gonna love this, and then realizing no, I am terrible and I hate it.
Yeah, that's so cool. So that's kind of an example of the word improvs that you do. So what other writing do you take part in?
So I do a lot more. I kind of I shifted a couple years ago to more of a bit of a. I was big into like slam poetry. I was watching a lot of like videos from button poetry and the way that people just express themselves. I saw some really powerful, I guess, like statement makers do these slam poetries, and it got me kind of onto that. So I do a lot of poetry, mostly off of kind of just feelings, I guess. Um, and so yeah, I guess a lot of it's like similar to kind of sorry, slam poetry, kind of rhymey, limericky sort of stuff.
Mhm.
And and then yeah, doing the word improv is a great way to like kind of get me into a different space.
Yeah,
Incorporate kind of my style with these kind of funky words and push me to a bit more of a challenge. It's something I wouldn't normally do.
yeah. So the slams mean that you have to get up and read them yourself?
Yes, but I don't get up and read them.
No.
I have yet to do that. I was gonna do it and then I chickened out once and then um, I've since moving to Australia. I wasn't really sure where I could access the same sort of culture, so that's been a bit of a slow move. So now I write them and occasionally I record them, but I have yet to post any.
Ah, cool. So what's the plan for your writing? What are you hoping to kind of achieve in the future?
Oh gosh, I my goals are quite low. I think I do it as a lot of a hobby. Um, I think I eventually would like to publish a book or two. Um, and I honestly, it's something I do a lot more for kind of my enjoyment. So I don't know if I have a lot of like kind of external goals for it, but I
Yeah,
think definitely willing to follow whatever kind of whatever the path leads, I suppose.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So what else do you do in your time
Um,
how do you spend your time? Yeah. So it says you
yeah,
play
no, I
instruments, so that's interesting. So what instruments do you play?
yeah, so I grew up taking piano lessons. So I did that for about 7 years. And so I play a keyboard here, and then I've taught myself guitar in the last over the pandemic. Um, I kind of translated that over into playing guitar. And then I've got my family is full of drummers, so I can keep a beat on drums. I don't own a drum set, but I enjoy banging on them occasionally. And yeah, other than that, I'm my big time suck at the moment is my master's degree. So I'm doing a master's degree in social work,
Yes, yes.
and it's a big one.
Yes, I bet it is. Do you find your use of instruments in your kind of musical background helps with your poetry?
Yes, definitely, because I think I have a big interest generally in music. Um, I started obviously playing instruments, and that leads you kind of to, discovering new artists or even, looking deeper into other mainstream artists. And there's a lot of poetry that I kind of produce from my own feelings, and to see how other artists do that, and then kind of translate it into my own music. I think I also write as if sometimes like it's a song, especially when they're a bit rhymey. I think when I was younger, that's how I originally started,
Yeah,
was like, if I could make this sing songy, people would like it more. Not that I was showing people, but I'm like, it's more pleasant when I can put it to a beat or a tune or something. Um, so yeah, I definitely think there's a big connection between kind of my musical tastes and my poetry writing.
yes. So, have you ever written a song?
Oh God, I have notebooks full from when I was about 15,
Well,
which I'm sure are quite cringy now. um, and I during like just before the pandemic, I was collaborating with a friend of mine because he plays guitar, and so I'd bring my keyboard over and we would write songs, but nothing that's like um, recorded or set in stone or anything. It's mostly just phone recordings and
yeah,
testing things out.
yeah. That's a good way.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a friend who can kind of share that interest too. You know, one plays, one
Yeah,
writes music, and it all kind of helps that kind of collaborative process.
yeah, exactly. And that's why I think that's part of it with the word improv. It opens opens my mind to different, not like different language, because obviously it's still somewhat, it's like English, but based in different languages or like more detailed words that like really kind of open your vocabulary. And I really love finding like musicians who incorporate really intricate, just weird words occasionally that you like, I've had to like look them up. I'm like, what are they saying? And then I'm like, that's an amazing word. So I enjoy that word improv kind of shows you these new words that I'm like, I'm gonna use that more regularly. That's a cool word.
Yes, yeah, it is. Some of them are really good, and I think the last challenge we had, the poem we just read from, there were kind of some that were kind of similar, or had a kind of same feeling to them, and some that were kind of
Hmm.
really weird and unusual, like oblong. We know
Hmm.
what an oblong is, but when you kind of think about the word oblong, it suddenly takes it on a whole new meaning.
Yeah, or like Nathonic. The word Nathonic I've never heard of,
Yeah,
and I was like, what the heck? And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, I love it. I love this word. I like the way it looks. It's funky. It's the meaning is great. I loved it.
yeah. So do you set yourself a
Yeah,
challenge? Okay, I have to use this word today. No matter where I am, who I'm talking to, I'm gonna have to use this word.
exactly. If I have to look up how to pronounce a word, I probably love it.
Cool, excellent.
Yeah.
And so you've got you're studying psychology and you're working going into social work now with your master's degree. So how is that kind of combining with your kind of love of expressing yourself?
Oof. With the social work, it's a lot of advocacy. In my opinion, I really kind of lean in toward advocacy. So I guess things I really, really care about, I tend to kind of drift toward um, kind of looking at ways to better those situations. Um, and so I guess in that way, it kind of expresses my interests and my kind of the things that I love, the things that I find to be most passionate about, um, end up coming through looking into like what I'll be doing with social work or where I want to work, and um, which is part of why I really would like to, like looking at things like writing as a way for people to express themselves specifically, or through music, like things like that have been huge for me to express a world of emotion. And so looking at communities and organizations that focus on, not focus, but incorporate the idea of self-expression through arts
Yeah,
is really interesting. And so finding little niches where it's like um, a mix of like advocacy and social change through, like self-expression in the arts and stuff is very interesting. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Great. That kind of self-expression is a huge in the psychology terms. In when we don't have an outlet to express ourselves in whatever form, whether it's kind of poetry, music, dance, then we kind of do kind of feel kind of insular, and we kind of we don't kind of look to the world as an outside view much, and so being able to combine those three, there's the
yeah,
psychology and
totally.
social work and the expression is great,
Yeah,
and
totally.
I can certainly see how kind of your kind of the poetry work and the music and the instruments you play kind of would lead perfectly into that.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah, you've said it.
Great. So I guess your when you finish your master's degree and you kind of start moving into psychology, then I guess your writing may change flavor as well. I guess.
Yeah, it's changing already, doing a lot of looking into a lot of policy reform things and writing a lot of papers. um, the language really changes. And again, similar to word improv, it's a challenge. It is not a way that I would normally write. It's topics I wouldn't normally pick. And it, I think, is a way to really develop writing as much as it's not about, I mean, as much as it's about social work and social justice, because I did my undergrad in psych, and that writing is even more different than kind of this social work writing. And so similar to like, we're given words in improv to see kind of where those words lead and create these stories and somewhat maybe express ourselves. Um, Going into this kind of academic writing for social work or policy reform stuff is like the same thing. It's a challenge. We have to use particular words, particular language, and kind of make it flow, but still kind of get the point across that we wanted to make.
Yes.
And so, in a way, there's a lot of kind of similarities, but also incredibly challenging and like developing. Um, yeah, similar to, I guess, it's like sharpening the blade as to what improv does. So,
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. God, I can imagine writing a policy in rhyming poems. That would,
new challenge, new
that
word
would, new
improv
challenge.
challenge.
Yes. Yeah, that's challenge. 100%. Yeah.
Exactly.
Great. So, is there anything else you would like to share with us?
um, Join our little community. Anybody who's on here, anybody, if you think you know anybody that's interested, like the more people we can get involved in this, the more fun, the more fun we can have, the more these interviews get to happen. And um, you can find all of that at Word Sleuth. He does all the improv things on there. And yeah, you can find me at Benign Lines. I'm sure that's linked somewhere. If you go on the
Yeah.
Word Sleuth page, I think it's up there as well. That's where I post a lot of my poetry stuff. Um, I have a Tumblr full of poetry, but I don't know if I'm going to share that yet. That may get linked because that's also from when I'm like 15. So
Yeah.
it's a
Oh,
good
yeah.
time.
Good. Yeah, it would be great. 15 is a great time of expression, and although sometimes we look back
Yeah,
and cringe, it's still worthwhile. It's still a worthy thing to
yeah.
have done.
I guess it's the process. So, but yeah, definitely everybody get involved with the word improv challenge. It's a lot of fun, even if it's a one-off or something you experiment with. Like, give it a go, join a little community, and hopefully we'll see them up here next
Yes,
time.
great. Well, talk about next time. Our third Pass the Baton interview is with Michelle interviewing our own Sitska, who's manning the comments and questions now, and that will be on Friday, the 22nd of April, 4 p.m. New York time. So check the conversions of your time where you are. In the meantime, yeah, why not just join, follow Word Sleuth, and take part in the word improv challenges, learn new words, just express yourself. And yeah, if you're interested in becoming part of this community, then yeah, you can make contact, and you never know, you may even be a part of this interview series as we move forwards.
Yes, yes.
Great. So
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
no, thank you. It's really interesting. It's kind of fascinating, those kind of combination of areas, that poetry, music, and psychology and social work is kind of, yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
So yeah, thanks for
thank
sharing,
you.
and thank you, Sitska, as well, for kind of manning and being there and looking after the people joining us. So yeah, we're looking forward to kind of hearing from you in a couple of weeks' time. So
Yeah.
thank you, everyone, and thanks
Amazing.
for joining us, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.
Bye.
Cool. Bye.